So, after about, like, what, 2 months, you'd think I'd probably have a proper intro for this video. I don't. But I am, actually, pretty late to this train. And holy goodness golly gee. Sorry, I'm not allowed to curse at the beginning of a video, lest the YouTube gods shun me for all of eternity. Okay, I think that's about enough. What the fuck is this?
I just
Jesus Christ, bro. Your, like, tailcoat keeps going through his little thing.
I know, I
it's
saw
so
that.
annoying. Wait, there's a thing that I keep shooting that keeps disappearing. What do I do? Well, I'm trying to have fun in the video game, dude.
Oh, fuck. Oh!
You get to stay behind and meet the Gizmo.
Don't ever call him the Gizmo ever again.
Jackson, where are you going?
Wait, please. Oh!
Damn.
What is bro trying to do? Okay, it worked. Also, why does Flash have an ass? Did anyone else see that?
I told you about it. Damn.
Damn! You guys look at my muscles?
Catch. Man.
Are you serious right now?
now?
I'm out of ammo, but I'm not out of
I'm
time.
about to die.
Fishman is down.
Don't call me a fish man. Oh yeah.
Why did he show his feet at the beginning?
There's a broken flash on my screen. Your connection to the host has been lost. Man, the one cool part of the game, it disconnects. Are you kidding me?
Whoa. Oh shit.
How the fuck are we here? Hey.
Wow. Yo, Jackson! Bro, I don't know what happened, bro. What they do to her, bro?
She looks so fucking dumb. I want to.
Bro, Arkham Asylum was like insane. Like, bro, I was crazy about that. And then look at this, bro.
Yeah, that's probably why. It's probably people like you.
Oh shit. Oh, it cut his hand.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's not even cutting his hand. What the fuck?
That's like fucking him up.
So funny now, is it, dickhead?
Hey, good shit. You finally said a funny line.
Oh my god.
Hey, that's all you, Boomerang. You got it. Oh. This door's really hard. Oh, there we go.
Finally.
We got it. I'm glad that he waited there for us. He probably heard us arguing out there. Was like, what the hell's going on?
So, I just recently finished playing through, well, I say recently, but it was actually, what, a month ago? Playing through what I think is one of the most interesting games I have ever played. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. And unless you've been living under a rock, yeah, the general consensus on this game is that no one really likes it. I really like the DC villains, and playing them in co-op with my friends sounded extremely fun. And no, before you get your pitchforks and torches, I haven't played the Arkham games, nor am I a huge DC fan in general, but my friends cannot stop praising the Arkham games and live and breathe DC, so they have to be good, right? And yes, these Arkham games are very good, extremely good for their time, in fact. They play, look, and feel better than most of the AAA games I've gotten my hands on recently. But, sadly, we're not talking about those games. No, we're talking about Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, which I will now simply be referring to as Suicide Squad, because, as we'll get into later, that second part of the name doesn't really play a huge factor in the game. A few months, actually, before the release of the game, not only had I forgotten about it, but I was really scared for the state of the game. Gameplay looked lackluster, and maybe it was because I just finished playing through Gotham Knights with my friends, but oh boy, DC games did not leave me with a good impression. But I did think that playing through the game with friends would be good fun and probably good content, so despite all my weird red flags, here it is. $70 US down the drain, and an admittedly disappointing experience for not just me, but my friends, and pretty much everyone who's touched this game. And if this is a favorite game in your eyes, that's great. I don't mean to scare away devout players of Suicide Squad, but there are some glaring issues with this game, and I hate to be that guy, but gaming in general. But what are those issues? Why are there issues? Well, that's what I hope to figure out in this video. Stick around. It's a long one. I wrote the script chronologically, but seeing as this is the first time I've made a video like this, and most of the script is just from the dome anyways, I might go off on my own spiels every now and then, so I hope you're ready for that. The beginning of the game is a tutorial that introduces you to the characters, how they work, their movement options, and basically all of the above. This was actually a pretty good tutorial for the first part of it, and because of my admittedly limited knowledge on the characters or the Arkham games in general, it was a pretty good introduction to everything, with my friend Daniel yelling in my ear every time that something from the Arkhamverse happened. thanks. But like I said, that was mainly only for the first part of it. Yeah, this tutorial drags on for a while. And I get it, it's a tutorial. It's supposed to teach you all the characters, their movement options, what they do, and other small details about them. But the game spoon feeds and holds your hand throughout all of it, so there's really no need for this long of a tutorial. It's a small thing, but when I'm really just trying to play the game with my friends, having a 30-minute unskippable tutorial is really not ideal. Now, before I get too deep into this video, I just want to preface that I may be wrong on things, and if I am, I implore you to tell me in the comments. This is really a learning experience, so if I'm wrong, I want to get the full picture. Anyways, the movement that I mentioned before is actually one of the biggest selling points of the game. Each of the 4 characters have different movement options. Captain Boomerang has a Speed Force boomerang that he just follows around. Harley Quinn has this grapple hook that she can connect to a drone-like thing. I thought that was pretty cool. Deadshot has a pretty useless jetpack. I didn't like it that much. And King Shark, he jumps. Apparently he's this Atlantean god and has these crazy godlike powers, which is fucking insane to me. It's a shark. For your information, I mained King Shark. He was the only character that I played. And one of the only reasons I got this game. Because he's a shark. That's awesome. But these movement options are actually really fun. Sadly, that's where the character differences kind of end. All of them play and feel the same. Their attacks are all the same as well. Melee attacks either hit an enemy up or knock them back for an easy spray down with your gun. All characters can basically wield the same guns, only excluding some characters. The guns all feel the same, and though they have design changes and small modifiers you can find later on in the game, they're really all the same, and leads to a pretty repetitive gameplay loop. I'll talk more about the gameplay later on, but I really feel there could have been more to each character, especially because they're the selling point of the game. Instead of meager stat boosts on the skill tree, how about give King Shark an instant kill chop move that takes a long ass time to recharge, or give Deadshot a kind of Overwatch ability where he auto-aims on enemies and takes a bunch out. While the skill trees do have ultimates and things called traversal attacks, that's it for special abilities. You get one, and the rest of the skill tree is devoted to boosting your stats on guns, those specified moves, and other miscellaneous stuff. It just feels a bit wasted, especially when there's so much you can do with these characters. Anyways, we just got past the tutorial. Holy, this will be a long video. Who wrote this? After the tutorial, you rewind time and get an extremely long cutscene introducing the main characters that were just introduced in the tutorial. Okay, to be fair, this time they're in prison, and it shows how they were brought together, what their mission is, introduces the plot points of the bombs in the Suicide Squad members' heads, and introduces one of the most infuriating characters in the game, Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller creates Task Force X, which is the actual name of the group we know as the Suicide Squad. But why? Why get a bunch of criminals together? Well, because this guy named Brainiac has taken over the entirety of the world. Nope, scratch that. He's actually just taken over the specific city, Metropolis. Ooh, but he's taken over the minds of the Justice League. Ooh, scary stuff. While being sarcastic, this is actually the thing that I was most excited for in this game. Well, no shit. And just the thought of fighting this evil Justice League under such insurmountable odds sounded so cool to me. And how could it not? I was really excited that the game got right into the action with the tutorial and the first cutscene. But before we get into the fun and exciting gameplay that I'm sure is waiting for us, we have to get through several extremely long cutscenes. And yes, they are skippable, but if you want to enjoy and actually understand the story, you better not skip anything, because this story is so insanely fast-paced, yet still somehow such a slog to get through. The worst part is, these cutscenes take up the majority of the actual game, not even gameplay. And the gameplay is still not even that great. So, let's play a little game. How will this group of mostly powerless losers defeat the Justice League, the renowned to have the strongest fighters in the world? Ahem, fucking Superman! Well, by stealing little gadgets and trinkets and artifacts from a museum. I mean, well, most of these items, like Harley's grappler bat and Deadshot's jetpack, make sense to be on display. Why the fuck would anyone let an object that literally has the Speed Force within it be placed behind a small panel of glass? Even if this was heavily guarded, you are just asking for this to be stolen. Circling back to that, why are these display pieces even working in the first place? These are artifacts from the Justice League. Who is the brilliant guy who thought, hey, we should probably keep this jetpack fuel just in case little Timmy bangs too hard on the glass and wants to go for a joyride? And then who is the 1 billion IQ genius that went along with that? And yes, maybe I'm just overthinking things. Maybe the glass has been weakened by the war outside. Speaking of the war outside, why the hell would Brainiac not attack this place? I mean, seriously, for a guy as smart as that, you'd think he would go after every loose end he can. I mean, sure, this might just be a museum, but really, there are some powerful things in here. The fucking Speed Force is in this thing. So yeah, The Task Force X members get their gear and are ready to take on the Justice League. They get immediately captured by a controlled Green Lantern. Oh, okay, I'll admit this was pretty funny. It was really cool to see the personalities of these heroes reflected in an evil light. During this moment, he kind of just parades us around the city, saying how powerful and omega brain he is for taking over a single city. Bitch, anyone in the DC universe can take over a single city, especially Metropolis. Throw Gotham in there as well. Everywhere in DC is just fucked, man. We see that Brainiac isn't just killing people. He's turning them into an infinity army of little alien dudes that will be our one and only average enemy types in the game. Yep, you heard me right. In the entirety of this game, never do we fight any other enemies other than these shitty aliens. Just bigger and badder aliens as the game progresses. Yeah, this was a real letdown. I mean, yeah, I get it. Brainiac is taking over the city. It makes sense that there wouldn't be any, like, random people running around. Wouldn't it be really cool to see other rival gangs or even other criminals ruling this now destroyed city? It could open up to some pretty cool quests or even challenges. It'd be better than the quest that Penguin gives. We'll get to him later. I've been very negative so far. So let's talk about something I actually do like about the game. I mentioned before the personalities of the Justice League members, but I really apply that to everyone in the game. Except Waller, she's just annoying. The main party got a good chuckle out of me, even when I wanted them to shut the hell up because holy goodness gracious, they do not stop talking. There's a scene after we get captured by Green Lantern where we see the Flash, who sort of just helps us get away. He hasn't been corrupted yet, but oh boy, here we come. Big Brain Task Force X come in and completely smoke him for no reason whatsoever. I get it. We're evil, but even these deranged lunatics later on believe there's no way they can win against the League, so why do they beat the hell out of someone who could have been an ally? Anyways, my point was, this entire scene was actually super funny. Flash simply paying us no mind while he battles evil Green Lantern was great, and seeing Captain Boomerang's desperate need to get noticed by the Flash was awesome. Boomerang and King Shark are, I think, the best written characters comedy-wise in the game. They constantly got laughs out of me and my friends, which is always a plus. Boomerang has this fun bit throughout the game where he just collects fingers from each of the Justice League members, and even though it seemed like a throwaway bit for the Flash, Boomerang just kept doing it, and every time it always got me. And King Shark is, well, a shark. He's dumb, and I love it. Harley and Deadshot are also very well written, don't get me wrong, but I just remember laughing at King Shark being stupid all the time more than anything else. And now that I say that, maybe that says a lot more about me than I first realized. But anyways, so yes, the Flash tries to fight Green Lantern, however gets smoked by him, and we're tasked to track him down. When we do, we jump him because he's hurt and can't run. Fuck that guy. We're then scared of Green Lantern coming back, so we hide out in another museum. This time, the Batman Museum, filled to the brim with all kinds of memorabilia that made my friend Daniel incredibly happy to see. No joke, we spent almost 20 minutes in this room just looking at stuff. It's really cool. We drag Flash around and plot our next move, until red lights flash and alarms sound. We look at several dead bodies appear suddenly, and then we see a security guard running at us. They fall to the ground as the camera pans to a batarang. Holy shit! I actually kinda fuck with evil Batman. So, before getting into what the community has labeled the Batman experience, I need to talk about the elephant in the room. This is Kevin Conroy's last video game voicing Batman, as he has sadly passed away, and I hate to say it, I was let down. All respect and adoration to Kevin Conroy. I have no doubt he did his best, but the cringy and generic dialogue just did not do any favors. Sure, he was awesome to watch, but that was really it. Most of his lines aren't even said in cutscenes, just random dialogue as you traverse the city. It isn't ever anything important and just seems like they sort of ran out of ideas. And I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but Batman's character was not done any justice, as he has one of the most disappointing boss fights in the entire game. It's just a sad last outing for this character, especially because this game is canon in the Arkham game universe. So much so that there are theories that the Justice League members are actually cloned copies of the real Justice League. So yes, the Batman experience. Probably the most well-done section in the entire game, which sadly means that it's only downhill from here. Batman turns off the lights in the building and makes us run through a maze, all with traps and fake cutouts of Batman placed around to scare us. We are tasked with finding a way out. However, Batman is always watching. No matter which exit you choose or no matter where you go, Batman will always find you and beat the ever-living Gotham out of you. It's such a fun and whimsical way of showing this really scary character in all honesty. It was genuinely scary and extremely funny to witness our asses get beat in less than a second. Batman takes Flash and eventually we find out he gets brainwashed by Megamind's second cousin. This is generally the first hour of gameplay. Not much to complain about. It's fast-paced and just solid, genuine fun. I do wonder what people experience experienced playing it alone. Personally, this was made even more fun because of me and my friends' banter, but I wonder what people who played alone felt. After this section though, the game starts trudging in the worst way possible. We now need to find a way to defeat an evil brainwashed speed demon, and the only people we can turn to are the Penguin and Lex Luthor, known for their creation of powerful weapons. These missions are really all the same, and the gameplay loop gets boring fast. Go to point A, fight some aliens, then run to point B and kill some more identical aliens. Sometimes B has areas you need to defend from enemies. However, these parts are so outstandingly easy, I don't think the enemies ever actually damage the points of interest. Mind you, we were playing the hardest difficulty in the game, so these missions being such a wash genuinely made us wonder if it was a glitch, or for that some reason we were on easy mode. While I haven't exactly done my research on this, I can fairly assume something reset our game difficulty every mission, because in hindsight, difficulty spikes were inconsistent and widespread. After the Batman experience, we return to our base meeting Hack. She is this person strapped to a machine that brings her into the metaverse, I guess. I don't know if they explained it at all. She unlocks our skill trees, enabling us to get extra stats and occasionally moves. This is a great thing in any game, but like I said before, I wish it was fleshed out more. After meeting Hack, we are tasked to find Amanda Waller, who is nowhere to be seen. We start planning our escape, which is a plot point that will be important for the next few missions before the game forgets about it again. Before suddenly, up there, in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Wonder Woman bringing on the pain! Yes! Wonder Woman is actually the last member who is not controlled by Brainiac. She completely destroys us, but this does set up a shaky alliance. After Wonder Woman disappears, Waller comes in, giving us our true mission: to kill the Justice League! Yay! How? Now, before we move on, I feel the need to mention the item shop, and you guessed it, Battle Pass. Yes, following every game that's ever released ever in the past few years, this game has a digital item shop and fresh new Battle Pass as of Season 1. For context, this part of the script is written after we've completed the game, and a few days after the Season 1 update. Look, I get it. No, I really do. For a live service game to stay alive, it needs some kind of digital currency or cosmetic shop to keep updates coming out. But I feel it was really poorly done in this game. And this isn't just a diss on this game, no. So many games are following this stupid formula now. It's almost a given to see some kind of cosmetic shop or battle pass in about every game that comes out. However, this game goes that step further and requires you to purchase the currency. You can't just get it around the regular game. I think there's some in the free battle pass, but it's not much, and it certainly won't get you anything good. Other than that, there's no other way of getting them. You have to buy them. I just think it's insane how an already $70 game locks stuff like this behind a paywall. And it would be fine. It's just cosmetics. You can get tons of these for free by doing Riddler challenges. However, there was one straw that broke my back. The newest character, Joker, in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, is $10 US. And yes, while you can complete challenges, which I didn't do to unlock them, so maybe it's just me being lazy, I really think this isn't a good way of promoting your most anticipated character. At least the most anticipated character for me. The biggest selling point of the game is its characters, so why lock a character under such a weird and annoying process like this? It's not like he's even that much different than the other characters in the roster. He still plays relatively the same. And from a person who has watched one of their friends actually complete these challenges, they are just mind-numbing in an already terrible gameplay loop. I don't get it. I really don't like this formula, and a lot of games are doing it nowadays. Fortnite gets away with their cosmetic shop and their battle pass because the game itself is free. However, more and more paid games are adding these battle passes and cosmetic shops, dangling special little items in front of you while stealing your wallet in the process. I really wish this process would stop, especially for AAA games that already make a decent amount from just purchasing their game in the first place. Call me old-fashioned, but if I'm paying for your game, you've got to be crazy if you think I'm paying for your damn battle pass as well. Okay, now I started rambling. So, back to more rambling. We meet up with the Penguin to upgrade our weapons, also in hopes he somehow knows a way of defeating the Flash and the other members of the League. The Penguin rejects us for some reason, following an annoying trend many characters in this game do. This is an apocalypse, one in which you know you have no chance of winning, so why do you turn away your one and only hope? Look, I get it, we're idiots and we're criminals, so there's no real reason to trust us, but you better give us some damn respect, otherwise we'll give you to Brainiac ourselves. So many conflicts in this game would be solved if they just got out of our way and let us do our damn job. Penguin, Waller, and later on Lex Luthor would all be
significantly more helpful if they just let us do our jobs without getting in our way constantly. We intimidate Penguin into joining us, and he gets working on special modifications for our weapons. These can be acquired in missions, but honestly, I just used the first one I got and never had to do any missions again. I think I only changed each of my weapons once, by the way. These weapons being your melee, your primary, and your secondary weapon. Primary weapons are usually heavier, things like machine guns, snipers, even some shotguns. Meanwhile, secondary weapons are smaller, mainly used for support if you run out of ammo on your primary, which happens a lot. I don't actually think the secondary weapon is restricted very much. I'm pretty sure you can attach any gun you want to the secondary, but I digress. Melee weapons are the only weapons actually custom to your character. King Shark has 2 sickle weapons, Deadshot just punches people in a small shot from his wrist gun, Harley has a hammer that just smacks people around, and Boomerang can throw his weapon and hit people. Like I said before, they're all very similar in use, but I figured I should at least talk about the few differences they have. Sadly for us, Penguin has no clue how to beat the Flash or the other members of the league, so we still have no real plan for that.
Thanks, man.
Next, we're tasked to find Lex Luthor. He's known for developing counters to the League, and is somehow still alive? Would have thought he'd be one of the first Brainiac would go after, considering how important he is later on. Well, a version of him. I'm getting ahead of myself. Mind you, this whole time, we're still trying to find a way to get the bombs out of our heads. Our biggest lead is that the bombs were actually made by Luthor Corp, so maybe we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We have several missions trying to find ways on even opening the doors to Luthor Corp, as we assume Lex has it on lockdown and is hiding out somewhere. During this, we meet the Riddler, a fan favorite and a classic in the Arkham games. This time, he's a constant voice in your head whenever you're near one of his riddles. There's also small parkour missions that unlock cosmetics upon completion. These are actually pretty fun, and some are fairly difficult on your first run. The most annoying part is that you all have to be together to do them. While playing multiplayer, your bombs are actually active. If you walk too far away from your friends, or if you're too far from the mission, a timer will appear on your screen. If you don't return, you die, and you respawn near your friends. This mechanic, while funny at first, does more harm than good. There is no leniency, and the space you can traverse is way too limited for such an open map.
What if I want to explore the city? I can't. What if I want to do my own separate missions while my friends do their own separate missions? I can't. What if I want to do a Riddler mission, but at the last part of it, my bomb blows up, forcing me to not only force my friends in that direction, but also restart the entire thing? I can do that, but I don't want to.
There was actually a part where I swear Waller says she extends the range on our bombs, but it felt exactly the same to me. Maybe it was just a glitch or I heard the line wrong. By the way, these games got massive backlash for being completely broken on release. Even people who pre-ordered the game and could play early could barely actually play the game. So much so that they received compensation in the form of in-game currency. I miss games that, like, work. And I play Pokemon, so I know all about games that barely work on release. But at least Pokemon is somewhat fun. This just isn't. There were so many times we were just simply bored, but playing because we wanted the game to get better, which it kind of does near the end, but the missions between are so monotonous. It's just a real letdown since the cinematic beginning of the game. As I'm scripting this, I realize how much of this game is just do thing here, then talk, and then do thing here. This time, we're trying to find some way of taking down Green Lantern, putting the whole Flash problem aside for a while. We go to this, like, town hall/square building and see there's a massive trap with bombs inside. Wonder Woman shows up just for no real reason, but then Green Lantern pulls up, all in his big, definitely not compensating green form. He throws some new enemies at us, just aliens but big. We kill them and then I guess he just fucks off.
I asked my friends, hoping that maybe they remembered why we were really supposed to be here, but they didn't know either. I mean, we get grenades that I never used. I could go back in my recording and check if there was any real reason we were here. But, I don't really care.
After this, we meet Gizmo, our engineer who will make us new gadgets to use on our missions.
Maybe he can give us the edge we need to beat the Justice League. He makes a car that we use for like 4 missions. Are you fucking kidding me? No, really. This could have been such a unique way to spice up the dull missions, and we never use it. We mainly use it in side quests more than the actual story. And mind you, this is the only gadget he ever makes. Just this shitty-ass car that blows up after 30 seconds. What does he do? I honestly don't know who the lazy one is here. The character or the game?
We eventually get into LexCorp, as someone actually answers the door and lets us in. It isn't Lex, however, but one of his random scientists. After some convincing, he agrees to take the bombs out of our heads. However, last second Waller shows up, destroying the machine that could take out the bombs, and she tries to take the scientist into custody. Before she can, though, Lex shows up on a screen. He says that he won't allow us to capture one of his scientists, as he deletes all of his files so we can't gain access to them.
He then simply blows up the head of the scientist. Yeah, this was insane. I absolutely cannot show it on YouTube, but I actually kind of like this scene because it really shows the reality of the situation. This is real, and it was really honestly interesting to see these characters witness something like this, because we don't see that side of the characters much, despite them being villains.
Obviously, Waller gets pissed and threatens to kill all of us right there. I get it this time, but still, what happens if you kill us? We're the best shot she has, and I think both Task Force X and Waller know that at this point. While we were in Lex's lab, we see a mysterious room with vines growing on it. Poison Ivy has been dead in the Arkham games for several in-game years at this point, but it seems she is now somehow revived, and Lex has been experimenting with her. With a loose cannon like that running around, we're tasked with finding her. We find this small flower in the ground and poke at it until it turns massive, and out of it reveals a small child.
What the fuck is that?
This is Poison Ivy, the most useless character in the game. And yes, while I dislike her child form, as I think it looks uncanny as hell, I'm not one of the weirdos who hate her design change for other reasons. I think it just simply looks bad. Anyways, she introduces a new mechanic called Afflictions, which are elemental abilities you can add to your weapons. Ice was the first affliction introduced, and it was so broken we never bothered with any of the other ones, nor knew how to even unlock them. We have to help her plants do things, because apparently grass is super effective against aliens, and it helps slow Brainiac's assault. I will say her initial entrance scene is pretty funny, but that's mainly all she does. We never really hear from her again until the very end of the game, where there's just a repeat of her same Protect the Plants mission. I feel the game does that a lot. It introduces a new, supposedly important character, and then throws them to the sideline a few missions later. It happens with Gizmo, Ivy, Penguin for a bit, and a few other characters I'll introduce right now. I don't really have a good segue for these characters, but they are important, so I'll talk about them now. Rick Flag and Toyman are the next characters we meet. Rick Flag is a highly ranked soldier taking orders from Waller. Toyman is a better Penguin. That's it. Toyman is our go-to guide to developing technology to counteract the League. Toyman is willing to help us use Lex's tech to allow us to actually hurt the Flash and stop his speed. However, we need Lex to do that. And ever since his explosive introduction, he has been hiding out somewhere in the city. We managed to track him down, and he clearly doesn't want to work with us. He has a device that counters the Speed Force and can disrupt the Flash before he gets too close. This is it. This is the answer. However, this idiot has such an ego, he's ready to 1v1 the Flash, only for the Flash to rip him out of his own suit and place him on a bench far away from us. The Flash taunts us and genuinely questions why we're even fighting. I agree. We're toast. Pack it up, fellas. A large tentacle from the Brainiac ship begins to touch down and suck us up, but it actually creates this giant cannon that is somehow sentient. Lex is trapped within the cannon, and the Flash says if we beat it, we get him. This boss was pretty dumb. We run around killing enemies who drop orbs that we throw into weak points to kill the cannon. I will say, this is the first time we actually all died and had to restart the fight, so I guess that's something. For the first boss in the game after nearly 6 hours of gameplay, it is really disappointing. Luckily, as we progress into the end game, boss fights are rampant. This game really picks up now, something me and my friends labeled the boss rush, as it seemed everything was finally coming together. It was time to kill the Justice League. We catch up to Lex, who is still reluctant to help us, when the Flash shows up again. Flash ridicules us, saying we can't possibly win, especially Lex. He goes for Lex, aiming for the kill, but Lex uses his device and blasts Flash off of him, launching his ass into a bus. We spray his body down with our guns, so much so that the bus explodes. He's dead, right? Hell no. Flash comes right back and rips out Lex's heart. This was awesome. I speak for everyone when I say we would have been pissed if Flash just died like that. So not only returning, but fully killing an extremely important character was perfect. Flash is pissed and begins circling around us, whipping up a tornado. He brings aliens in constantly in a battle that is impossible to win. We all fall to the ground as the Flash is ready to end it. But in comes Wonder Woman to deliver the coolest attack in the game, knocking the hell out of Flash, putting us into one of the most intense scenes in the game. Wonder Woman has Flash tied with her lasso of truth and begs him for a way to stop Brainiac. At first, nothing happens, but eventually, a bit of Flash does come through. This is what I wanted from this game. When it's done right, the game has great moments, but it's sadly overshadowed by all of the annoying and monotonous stuff. We were so tired at this point that we barely had a reaction to the scene, but looking at it now, it's great. Flash breaks free, however, and runs away. Wonder Woman has had it with our shit and locks us in the same crate that Lex was in. She then chucks us across the city, and we land in the Daily Planet building, with a distant voice calling for us. It's Lois Lane, who is another person who seems like they probably shouldn't be alive, but boy are we glad she is, because she lets us out of the crate. Then she dips, and we go back to HQ, as now that Lex is dead, we seem to be out of options. Except the Toyman. Toyman actually has a way of stopping Flash's speed as well. We've known this, but now we can actually use it ourselves. Toyman equips us with a special shot that will slow down Flash for a bit so we can actually hurt him. He also makes this Pokeball thing that allows us to shrink people and capture them, this will be important later. The only issue is Toyman is a massive fan of the Flash and refuses to admit the Flash is corrupted. So we sort of steal it from him and are ready to kill the Flash. Like I said before, this part of the game is boss fight after boss fight, and I'm all about it. I just wish the bosses were more spread out through the game. I said at the beginning that the kill the Justice League part of the title didn't really play a big role, and I stand by that. The first 8 or so hours of the game are just missions and no real fights. If the bosses were more spread out, it would not only break up the annoying quests, but it'd also make the ending feel less rushed. Anyways, we meet the Flash at an open theater and use our device. He's annoyed, but isn't exactly hurt by it. It seems whatever Brainiac did has made them more durable. It'd certainly explain how he survived this. The fight starts, and the Flash has 3 moves. That's it. He runs around a bit, sometimes shooting out lightning from his arm. You can use the device just before he throws the bolt to stop him and get some good damage. There are a bunch of clones of him, simulating how fast he actually is. This first phase is super easy, especially with teammates. Just spray him whenever he tries something, and he'll be taken down a health bar quickly. His second phase, he begins to make large lightning tornadoes that fly around scarily fast. These are the most dangerous attacks, as they move unpredictably. You still simply do the same thing as before, hitting him before his lightning attack. His third phase is a little bit of everything. He starts making more tornadoes and is generally more difficult to hit, as he's faster on his attacks. Other than that though, he's a pretty easy fight for most of the part. This fight actually completely broke my game, by the way, as during one of the phases I was kicked out of the game. On launching the game again, I couldn't join my friends and I had to completely restart my Xbox. No clue if it was the game or just something weird with my Xbox, but I thought it was really funny that the Flash of all people was the one to break my game entirely. After killing the Flash, he just flops over. No real death animation, no final stand, he just dies. Kind of anticlimactic, but I get it. We shot him. Boomerang pisses on the Flash as we all celebrate our first real victory. Next on the kill list is Green Lantern. The main way we know of hurting Green Lantern is with Yellow Lantern powers. There's a whole rainbow of different color lanterns and all of them have a Pokemon type chart that tells you what does what. All you need to know is yellow kills green in this case. Luckily, Lex has a whole bunch of Yellow Lantern stuff and he's dead. Right. Oh well, we might as well go back to HQ. We get sent to another fucking dimension. What? Remember when I said before that skipping cutscenes isn't recommended because the plot is so fast-paced and weird? Well, when I rejoined my friends after the crash, I missed the cutscene after killing the Flash. That kind of rhymed. And I kid you not, one of the tentacles from Brainiac's ship comes down and takes Flash's body. But us, it somehow sends us to a different dimension where Brainiac has already destroyed all of Earth. It is absolutely insane that the one cutscene I missed literally sent us through dimensions. And you want to know the even crazier part? Somehow, the one person who is still alive in this dimension is fucking Lex Luthor. So we meet with this new Lex Luthor who has somehow been expecting us. Yeah, right, dickhead. I'll believe that if you show us a way of getting back to our dimension. He has a van that will send us back to our dimension. We do an extremely annoying escort mission where we guide the van through a bunch of enemies that we need to defeat before we can actually get back to our universe. With a brand new Lex. Lex has a supply of Yellow Lantern power, I guess. I don't exactly know how it works, but it allows our guns to hurt Green Lantern and his creations. We go up to Green Lantern, who is just sitting and waiting like he's him, as we begin the fight. It sucks. It's bad, boring, and a real letdown. He summons these big bombs that we have to shoot. When we do, it breaks his shield and allows us to hurt him. He also summoned turrets we have to take out, miniguns, everything. The fight sounds cool in theory, but it was awful in execution. It was laughably easy as well. There were times where I thought maybe I would die, but I just healed up immediately afterwards. He dies exactly like the Flash does. They just flop over and die. We celebrate our victory, but then look at Lantern's ring. This ring is the source of his power, and of course we pick it up. I say we, but it's actually my boy King Shark who picks it up and puts it on. Let's go. A transformation happens, and King Shark becomes a Green Lantern. This was awesome. I was hyped. Maybe this gives me more skills or ultimates, as I already felt King Shark was a bit limited in its offensive abilities. King Shark summons a giant green shark that begins to swim our way and then launch itself at Brainiac's ship, destroying the shield around it. We've known about the shield for a while. It's the only reason we were trying to target Green Lantern in the first place, as he was supporting the shield. With him dead, it leaves the ship open for attack. And now with this, we can actually bring the fight to Brainiac himself. The ring starts acting weird though, and the shark begins to come to us. It seems Brainiac still somehow has control over the ring, and we scramble to get it off. Well, fuck me, I guess. I won't be a cool Green Lantern shark. No, that's fine. I didn't want that anyways. Fucking game. Waller sees the shield being broken as well, and shoots a fucking nuke at the ship, not caring about us at all. Are you kidding me? Do you really think this is gonna work? And when it inevitably doesn't work, we'll probably be dead, and you'll have no one protecting you. The nuke gets stopped in place, like I called, dickhead. But it wasn't by Brainiac or anything, no. It was by Superman, who throws the nuke far off in the distance. Yeah, that's gonna kill us in a few weeks. The radiation alone will kill us if Brainiac doesn't. Anyways, Superman is pissed and flies over to Waller. You know, maybe Brainiac wasn't that bad after all. We run back to HQ, where Superman is currently attacking. Luckily, Wonder Woman shows up and starts fighting Superman. This is actually a badass scene, and was really cool to watch. These two fighting is always fun to see, but in this case, Superman gets the upper hand. Wonder Woman, in one last effort, stabs Superman with kryptonite, right in the chest. But somehow, it seems to not affect him nearly as much as it should. He blasts Wonder Woman in the chest. This, again, was an incredible scene. Nothing to complain about. Superman is still hurt, though, and retreats. Somehow, and unfortunately, Waller is still alive. Now that Superman knows where we are, all hell's gonna break loose. We still, after all this time, haven't even thought about a way of killing Superman. But now we obviously have to, especially now that kryptonite seems to not work. Wonder Woman dropped a bit of kryptonite, and Lex says he may have something in mind, but just in case, we should figure out other ways of killing him. We know that Batman was always prepared to have ways of defeating the League if something like this happened, especially Superman. So we simply have to find his Batcave, which is actually simple, for some reason. We meet up with Ivy, who can detect man-made caves, and even though this isn't the actual Batcave, we still find a small hideout where Batman stays. We easily walk in and find a message that Bruce made. He just left this here, I guess? But it does give us some information on how he plans on dealing with the League if they ever went rogue. We skip ahead to when he talks about Superman, but before we can start, something weird happens. Now, going into a bit of Arkham lore, Batman faked his own death when his identity was revealed as Bruce Wayne. Instead, he started using Scarecrow's fear toxin to turn the Batman into a myth to be feared around Gotham. Anyways, now he's using the fear toxin against us, splitting us up and breaking into our biggest fears. This section is really interesting, with a whole bunch of little secrets for the big DC fans out there. You run through with each character while avoiding jump scares. Harley has experienced this before, and knows the only way to get out of the fear toxin is to actually overdose on it. This whole part is so much better than the buggy mess of a boss fight that Batman has. Where do I even start? We wake up to see this massive Scarecrow Batman fusion that we have to shoot. I don't know if it's been updated, but when we were fighting, all of his attacks seemed to have terrible hitboxes, and the fight itself was extremely anticlimactic. We just simply shot at the big Batman, and guess what? He falls over. Not dead, though. We actually need him alive. Lex wants to run a few tests on his brain to see if he can counteract Brainiac. We bring him in, and Lex tells us to go find some more tech to enhance the kryptonite samples. We collect all the tech and meet back up with Lex, who has shaved his head for some fucking reason. I don't know. Maybe in hopes of just simply taking the other Lex's identity, because no one really knows that the Lex in this universe died. I don't know, man. But Lex has created gold kryptonite, which is just kryptonite but better. It should nerf Superman enough for us to actually hurt him. We all get kitted out in gold kryptonite and are ready to kill Superman. Our last hurdle before Brainiac himself, who still up to this point has not said or done anything himself. We bring Batman with us, maybe trying to lure Superman towards us, and then execute Batman. A real shit way of killing your most important character, but alright, I guess. They do the moment justice with its soundtrack, though. Actually, I think the soundtrack in this game is great. Anyways, Superman shows up and we're ready to fight. Except, well, the gold kryptonite isn't exactly as potent as we hoped. It hurts him, but we are still one punch away from being blown into next Tuesday. We start shooting Superman. Of all the fights, I think this was the best. It seemed the most clean and optimized, at least, so that's something. He would target one person and blast them with his eye lasers. He'd also freeze the area, making it hard to move around. He seems impossible to hit at first, but during some attacks we can actually hurt him and delete his stamina bar. Once this bar is fully gone, we can actually do damage. And once this stamina bar actually went away, we did insane damage to him, like actually unthinkable damage. Clearly we were over leveled somehow, but we didn't even do any side quests, so I have no clue how that happened. Then we destroy his life bar, but Superman ain't going down like that. He flies into the sun, supercharging himself. Phase 2, baby. With a brand new spanking health bar, we have to redo the stamina bar depletion. He starts crashing into the ground, nuking the area. He also starts chaining attacks. Remember that ice from before? He now eye lasers that and blows them up. He also starts moving way faster and generally gets more aggressive with the person he targets. Other than that, though, I didn't see any new attacks. And once his stamina bar was down, he died pretty easily after. He starts tweaking out, lasering everywhere. But it's all over, and he falls to the ground. Hey, at least he had a proper death animation. Yeah, me and my friends were not happy about this. Screw plot armor and everything. No way Superman loses to us, even with the golden kryptonite. We start celebrating. We did it. We killed the Justice League. Can I go now? Nope. cause Brainiac finally decides to step in, and he freezes us in place, chatting himself up even though his greatest fighters just got clapped. He then teleports us to his ship, trying to get us to join his side. Honestly, he has some pretty good benefits. I see no bad qualities of this agreement. Lex jumps in, however, and teleports us back, even though Task Force X was genuinely considering the offer. Okay, so just stay with me here. Lex introduces us to the concept of multiple universes due to us being accidentally transported to his universe after killing the Flash. Lex's universe was also taken over by Brainiac. That means there are a bunch of different universes with a bunch of different Brainiacs, all causing a ruckus. Before we can really talk about this, Waller shows up on a screen, pissed at us for some reason. Apparently we never told her that we found a new Lex, but we all make a compromise as we're all after the same goal, beating the shit out of Brainiac. While we were talking though, Brainiac has started terraforming the area, trying to make our world look like Lex's universe. We have to destroy these terraformers before we can get to Brainiac. We all meet up at HQ, which we've moved back into, and plan out the 13 universes that Brainiac is affecting. We need to collect something called Promethium, a material dropped by Brainiac's big minions in the terraformers. Using Promethium, we can split through dimensions and bring Brainiac to justice for good. You got all that? No? Me neither, but we're fucking doing it anyways. Cutting to the chase, Brainiac sucks. His boss fight sucks. Simply getting to him sucks. Everything in this endgame sucks. It is a soulless grind to get the Promethium, and ours was actually broken, and we needed to do extra missions even though we had all the Promethium needed. It was just bad. Then when you finally get to the first Brainiac, it's just a reskin of the Flash fight, but this time a bunch of alien enemies are around that you have to fight. He has the exact same moves as the Flash, and that's it. But at least we get to use the cars! Woo! Finally, they're useful. Let's go. You know, Gizmo, I gave you too much flack. You're not that bad. But then he just fucking falls over. That's it. That's the fight. Yeah, safe to say, after this, we didn't do any of the other Brainiac fights. Nor did I even feel the need to look up if the rest of the fights are actually unique. This just left such a bad taste in our mouth. After all of this buildup, this is the fight? There is no excuse that I could hear for this. It's extremely anticlimactic and just simply lazy. And if they wanted to reskin the other boss fights as sort of like a rematch system, that's fine, but don't start with that. We catch him with the Pokeball thing I mentioned before, as we want to run experiments on him. We then bring him back to HQ, and apparently there isn't any air in the Pokeballs, so he's dead. But he isn't dead! He wakes up, and we stab a bomb into his head, which then kills him. I don't fucking know. So yeah, after all that, that's the end. Hey, I hope you all enjoyed this massive video. This is my third time recording this outro because I just had more and more to say. So if you got up to this point in the video, I thank you, and you can head out if you want. But for those who stay, thank you. This project is the first genuinely big project I've worked on for this channel. And for the dumbest game, can you imagine that? Ever since I finished the game, I knew I didn't simply want to make a normal video on it because I had so much I wanted to say. So I finally decided to do a format I've been wanting to do ever since I started this channel. If it's not obvious, I love talking about games. Good games, bad games. I just didn't expect it to take this long to make a project like this. But I hope the wait was worth it. From problems with audio, issues with editing, footage corrupting, me literally stepping on a piece of broken glass and fucking up my foot. A lot went into this video. And I'd just like to thank not only you guys for being so patient during this project, but everyone who's helped me with this video. I literally could not have done this video without my friends. I wouldn't have even gotten through the game without them. So yeah, I sincerely hope you enjoyed. I'll see you all later.
Holy goodness, golly gee. Wow, that didn't work very well. I don't even know what happened.
Alright, now it's time to get mad. I'm gonna end this recording, but it technically is the same scene. Future Henry.
I don't. So, yeah, I'm pretty low. It's upside down.
But I did think that playing through the game with friends would be good fun and probably good content, But I did think that playing through the game with friends would be good fun and probably good content. So despite all my weird red flags, here it is. $70 US. Oh my god. This line is just too funny for me to say.